Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Llewellyn and Tara, and let's see here. I am, who else do I see here? I see Director Nick Brown, James Taylor, Sonja, Judy, and David Horton, and Denise Riera, and Deborah Pickett, and Miss Bass. Good to see everybody. So nice to have you all here today. All right, so welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Boyce Watkins, and I am a guy who has a few things to say that hopefully will help you in your economic journey. And I happen to be a finance professor as well, and that's kind of what I do. That's my thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to spend a little bit of time tonight, and I'm going to talk to you about something that I believe is going to make a big difference in your financial existence, your financial life. And it's no hype, no flashy stuff. Just me breaking things down for you in a way that hopefully will benefit what you're seeking to accomplish as an investor. And so, anyway, I hope you all are. Feel free to put your city in the chat. Let me know what city you're coming from. And I live outside of Chicago with my wife, and we have three kids. Two down, one to go. So two of them are off to college, and we got one more left. And I know she's gonna leave as soon as she gets a chance to go. And that's and my wife also is a professor as well. And I'll tell you all a little bit about that in a second, so you can just sort of know a little bit about what we do and why we do it. I will confess that I'm very family oriented. I'm really into not just the money and the economics of what we do in terms of how to build wealth and all that stuff. That's really important. But I believe that the why is really important. Why are you building wealth? Why are you doing this? Why does this matter to you? And so I am a guy. I have opinions about things. I've been black my whole life, and I ain't apologizing for it. It doesn't mean I hate anybody, never have hated anybody, but I definitely love my community, and that's not going to change. Miss Bass is out of Killeen, Texas, Fort Hood. That's a very, very important city for my family because that was where me and my mother and my father moved to when I was a baby. My father was in the military, so shout out to all the veterans in here. He was a Vietnam guy, and we lived in Fort Hood for a while. And I gave a speech in Fort Hood recently, so I have a lot of affinity for that place. Dallas is important. I've had the misfortune of being a Dallas Cowboys fan for a long time, so I see Dallas in here. What else? Okay, Llewellyn says I hate brokenness. Me too, man. Me, we got to find brokenness and go in the back alley and beat them up. Brokenness is not that is anti-black. The wealthy is the new black, in my opinion. And you ain't got to be black to be here, but that's kind of how I see things. All right, let's see. I see Virginia's out of is that Pew? Is that Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? Okay, Bowie by way of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Okay, so you have PHG or PGH. Willingboro, North Carolina, New Jersey. I'm sorry, Willingboro, New Jersey for James Taylor. Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Houston, Texas. All right, awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some slides uh, that hopefully will give you a chance to see wealth in a certain way. It's not going to take a ton of your time, but what I'll do is kind of break some stuff down, and then I will take questions at the end if you have any questions and you want me to break it down further for you. And so, what we're going to talk about is something I call how to make money without working. This is not hype. This is not magic tricks. This is not crazy, ridiculous Ponzi schemes and blessing looms and everything else that you see online. This is stuff that's verifiable. It's being done by a lot of people. I'm a professor at this stuff, so I can break it down for you in a pretty straightforward way. And so the question is that I would start with is I think you should ask yourself, why are you here? The word why is one of the most important words in all of investing, in anything. And I'm not just talking about investing money. I'm talking about investing the things that matter more than money, like investing your life. Why are you doing it? Why are you investing time? Why are you here? Why are you could be watching Netflix. You could be twerking. You could be, you could be at the bank. You could be playing basketball. You could be doing a whole lot of stuff, but you chose to be here. And so I would say that there should be a reason why. And if you don't know the reason why, then I would say, well, why did you do it, right? And so here I would imagine, and this is what I can help you do. You're probably looking for ways to generate passive streams of income using things like stock options. Okay, so the thing about this is that I want you to pay attention to the word passive. A lot of people really truly believe that passive income just doesn't exist. They believe that if you don't work, you don't eat. Give me a yes in the comments if you grew up like that. If you heard somebody tell you if you don't work, you don't eat. and that everybody has to go to work and stuff like that. Give me a yes if you grew up like that. Well, that's just not true. That's not true. In fact, what's interesting is that most of the people who make the most money in America are people that actually don't go to work every day. They have other people that, to be quite honest, they go, the others go to work on their behalf, right? And so today we're going to talk about passive income streams using stock options. And what I'll do is I'll break down what an option is, how it works, and a straightforward process that can help you to achieve that goal. And I have to make notes because there's some stuff I want to show you. For those of you that have been around for a while, I got a little surprise at the end that I want to break down for you to let you know we've been working on this for a while. All right, number two, you're probably here to level up your life. You're a high achiever. That's why you're here. Most people don't learn. They complain about their economic situation, but they don't do anything about it. Maybe they don't have the confidence. Maybe they don't have it as a priority. Maybe it's one of those things where they say I'm going to do it one day, and I would call that not to make fun of anybody, but I call that those level one people. Like all of us have been a level one person. Let me know if you've gone through that, where you always say, "I'm gonna do this one day, one day, one day," and I encourage you to go from being a level one person to being a level two person. A level two person doesn't say one day; they say 2 day. I'm going to do it 2 day. And so I encourage you. I would aim to be a level two person in life because one day you're going to run out of one days. And one day is going to eventually turn into 2 day, and then it's going to turn into yesterday. And then all you'll have is yesterday. You know that Beatles song, Yesterday, all our troubles seem so far away. I listen to that song and I'm like, the past is gone. You can't go back. So stuff like that is right. Like time matters. In fact, believe it or not, time is one of the most sacred, most interesting aspects and variables in all of money and wealth. Time is everything when it comes to wealth. And so when people say, well, why do our people waste so much money? I say, no, actually, we don't waste money. We actually waste time. Because time, if used properly, builds massive amounts of wealth. So, for example, I could probably impress you by showing you some simple equation that shows that if you had a parent that was investing, say, $300 a month for you in the stock market since, say, the 1980s, you'd be close to being a millionaire right now, right? But instead, they probably gave somebody $300 a month, but it wasn't you, right? So they invested $300 a month in somebody's family, but it wasn't yours, right? And so, really, when I say time is everything, please believe me, time is so important. So don't waste time. Time is more valuable than money. Time is not money. Time is more valuable than money. Let's keep going. Maybe you want to invest in a way that's safe, affordable, and impactful for your family finances. One of the hardest things about investing that we see online is that there's a lot of nonsense out there that just doesn't work. There's a lot of high risk stuff going on. Stuff in the range of day trading and stuff like that. Just family or sort of these investing ideas. Like somebody comes up with a bright idea and they get you to put your whole life savings behind that one idea, and they don't realize that unfortunately in many cases they're doing very bad investing because you should never put your entire life savings into anything ever. Just friendly advice. And so investing in a safe way, I think, is really important because the number one rule of wealth is to protect what you have. You can't build on top of that if you don't protect what you have. So keep that in mind because 70% of all wealthy families lose all their wealth within one generation. 70%. All right, what else? What else might have brought you here? How many of you want to leave a legacy? Put a yes in the chat if you care about legacy, if you care about your kids, grandkids, your stepkids, your play cousins, anybody that you care about that you're going to leave behind. How many of you care about legacy? And I hope you do. I really hope. I hope I can convince you that legacy matters because so many people will die and just think that all the problems of life disappear because they're dead. They'll say, "Well, I won't care. I'll be dead." But your kids will care. Your grandkids are going to care. They're going to suffer because you had an opportunity and you kind of threw it away. So let's not do that, right? Legacy really matters. In fact, generational wealth should be something that should be on all of our minds because you don't know the day or the hour that you're going to transition and graduate to heaven. I went to Egypt with my wife and we went to King Tut's tomb and we sat there next to King Tut. And what was really crazy about it was I remember looking at his life. I was like, I wonder what this guy's life was about. Everybody's been hearing about King Tut, right? And King Tut died when he was like 18 years old. He was king for like 6 or 7 years. Maybe I got it wrong. I'll double check, but I think it was king for like 6 or 7 years, and he died at 18 years old. And I was like, Okay, so this guy's life was really short, but his legacy was 1,000 times longer than his life, right? I mean, people have been talking about King Tut for thousands of years, and this man was a teenager. He died young, and so he wasn't even on this earth that long. That freaked me out when I saw that. So that really made me think about legacy differently. It's like, well, maybe a big chunk of our life should be spent preparing our legacy because if you do it the right way, you can live forever, right? So let's keep going here. So what do you want to avoid? First thing you want to avoid are the pain of generational curses. A lot of us have generational curses that have never gone away. We have problems that exist because somebody dropped the ball, somebody didn't do what they were supposed to do, or somebody did things in the wrong way. We want to end that. End that. We don't want the illness. We want the cure. Also, the trauma of financial insecurity. How many of you grew up broke? Did anybody grow up poor? Any other poor people in here? When you're so poor you can't even afford the O and the R. Yeah, I know poor. I know poverty. I was born in the projects. All that good stuff. I remember the roaches. I remember the lights getting cut off. I remember the car getting repossessed. Stuff like that. That's very traumatic, by the way. My wife is a trauma expert, and she says that a lot of the things that we consider to just be normal because of who we are, she said, no, this is trauma, and trauma affects you in so many ways you can't even imagine. One day you should come to one of our Black Business School trauma seminars, and and you'll just walk away realizing how the trauma has affected your relationships, it's affected your mental health, it's affected your physical health, definitely affected your finances because trauma affects how we view everything and how we react to things. If you invest in the stock market, trauma will cause you to sell your stock too fast and you lose money because once the stock goes down, you have a trauma response. And people who get traumatized easily have a hard time investing because a big part of investing means keeping your cool. It's hard to keep your cool when you're freaking out, right? So this is why mental health matters. Maybe you have another type of trauma and stress, and that is the stress of working for other people. America is an interesting society. It's a capitalist society. The capitalists that run everything are not very nice. They don't care a lot about workers, and there's a lot of mistreatment that can occur, and that can be very stressful. That actually studies show that ends your life earlier. So I kind of realized early that I didn't enjoy really working for other people unless I had to, or excuse me, unless I wanted to. There's a big difference between working for people because you want to versus working for people because you have to. What else? So let me just give you a little background. I have no idea. I should probably do like a quick poll. I want to ask you all a quick question, really, really fast, if you don't mind. I want to know how many of you even know who the heck I am. So I'm literally gonna just I'm gonna call this the Dr. Boyce poll. I don't know. This the Dr. Boyce poll. Let me see. I'm gonna put this in the comments, and the question will be really simple. Do you know me? Meaning, did you know of me before we met today, or is this your first time? If this is your first time, I gotta prepare you. I'm probably gonna scare you sometimes because I'm a little bit crazy. Let me see here. Let me share the poll. Okay, so I'm gonna be sharing the poll in 1 second. All right, so I'm launching the poll now. So if you're in the comments, if you can answer that for me, that would give me some information on what we're all kind of dealing with, so I can kind of kind of know if I need to pull it back, give you the tame version. Okay. All right. So if everybody, as many of you can answer as possible, that would be cool. All right. So let's see. All right. Okay. I see somebody says they know me since I was on the faculty of Syracuse. That's very cool. All right. I miss Syracuse. I don't miss all that snow though. Syracuse is a pretty damp, cold, dark kind of city. It's good people, but just Lord, if you got a problem with that season affective disorder, Syracuse ain't the place for you. All right, so I'm gonna end the poll in three, two, one, and go. Okay, so here are the results. 79% of you said yes. Okay, that's cool. And then 21% of you, 6 out of 29, have said no. The respondents here. Okay, so for those who don't know, you're gonna learn today. So let's get it. Let's jump in, and hopefully I can get you thinking about some things that maybe you didn't know about before. My goal is to help and support you in any way that I can. So who am I? Really quickly, my mother was 17 when she gave birth to me. I thanked her all the way up until the day she died. I thanked her for giving birth to me because she didn't have to. And a lot of people sometimes think that if you don't have enough money, your child doesn't deserve to live. I've never agreed with that. That's probably sounds political when I say it, but it's not meant to be political. It's spiritual. I just don't understand that, and it makes me sad. So literally, when you increase the economic condition of a community, you're literally saving lives. Like there are gonna be lots of people. Like there was one lady that was gonna have a baby, and she said she wasn't gonna have the baby because she didn't have money to afford insurance. And I didn't even know this lady, and I said, I'll get you insurance." Like, is that, and like, is that the only thing? Is that the only thing? The difference between life and death for the baby, like, is $500 in insurance or whatever it costs? Like, I'll pay for it. And she thought that was weird. Like, why would you do that? I'm like, because I think a baby's worth more than $500. That was just my thinking. To me, it was just logical, right? And now she had a husband, and I think it kind of bothered him. He thought I was maybe trying to hit on his wife, and I wasn't. And I had to explain that to him. But still, though, and now the baby's here. The baby's like 13 years old in middle school, having a great life and super smart. And I'm like, I cannot believe that only $500 made that difference there. That's kind of insane to me. So my mother gave birth to me. I thank her for it all the time because it was hard. It was really hard for us in the beginning. A lot of uncertainty there. But she made an investment in me, just like buying stock, and I'd like to believe the investment paid off because when she retired, I got her whatever she wanted, took good care of her, and all this other stuff. Also, I was a product of certain generational curses, like the drugs. My father had a drug issue, and so he wasn't really in my life like that. And other generational curses. I don't have to go down the list. A lot of you probably have your own list to pick from. I was a former slave. I refer to myself as a former slave. When I had a six-figure dream job. I used to believe falsely that there was such a thing as a dream job, and then I realized that that's a complete oxymoron. I don't think the words dream and job belong in the same sentence. I don't think that labor is anybody's dream, unless you really just happen to love your job, in which case maybe that's possible. But the idea of a dream job for most people, I don't even know if that even makes sense. I think your dream is probably something other than go to work for 12 hours a day. I failed most of my classes in school. I think I had ADHD or something. And so I had a hard time sort of paying attention. And you'll see signs of my ADHD right here in this room. Like sometimes I'll just start talking about stuff, but I've always been like that. Did well in college though. College got better. I became a single dad at the age of 18. I met my first girlfriend when I worked at Taco Bell, so I learned early that you should avoid tacos because tacos will get you in trouble every time. And I learned about racism at an early age. I became obsessed with Black wealth, Black family, and the Black community. When I started to really research and diagnose what was going on with my community, I started realizing, okay, things like family are connected to wealth. Mental health is connected to wealth. If you're traumatized all the time and you're stuck in survival mode, it's very hard to prosper when you're dealing with that kind of thing. And even when you do figure it out and you start to rise, you get people kind of grabbing onto your ankles as you're trying to fly, and that becomes really difficult. So I'm a big believer in personal power, commitment, Black love, and responsibility. Now, what did I choose to become over time once I kind of figured some things out? In college, I was a Wall Street Journal outstanding graduating senior in finance. I had the highest grade point average of all of the finance majors, including black, white, otherwise. I got a master's degree in mathematical statistics. I taught math at the University of Kentucky for a couple of years. I got a PhD in finance at the Syracuse University. I've taught at University of Kentucky, Indiana University, Syracuse University, and the Ohio State University. Go Buckeyes, greatest football team on the planet. Thank you very much. I've written several books, including books like What If George Bush Were a Black Man, Financial Lovemaking, Everything You Ever Want to Know About College, and my latest book, The Ten Commandments of Black Economic Power. And I've appeared on a lot of media outlets. We have 156,000 students in the Black Business School. Uh, Probably, I would really say more though. We have a few million followers on social media and stuff like that. And so people just kind of see me around, or maybe they'll jump into class. My goal is to help anybody that runs across my path that actually wants to listen and wants to grow. And so we've had gotten well over 500 million views on YouTube. We're probably approaching a billion by now. We've been doing this a while. I think we started doing a lot of this in 2006. Okay, so building economics is a big deal. So here's my greatest investment ever. My biggest investment was my life, that which matters so much more than money. And I dedicated my life to that beautiful black woman in that picture. I believe strongly that things like family and stuff like that are extremely important for wealth building. And so I proposed to my wife right at the spot where I met her when I was 22 years old. And she is a therapist and a full professor of social work, and we work together on a lot of projects. And so that was a massive investment because like that's the biggest investment you'll ever make. So so it's a thing. It was a whole learning process being a husband. Now here's one thing I learned over time. I learned that the right moves can make you better. The picture on the left is me before I met my wife, and this is me after she got me eating better and running marathons and doing the things that I need to do to be healthy. And this made me think about things like financial fitness. And what I learned from this experience was very simple. I learned that most of the time when you talk about improving your life, it's not as if we don't know what to do. Sometimes we have no clue, no idea. But a lot of times we know, like for example, we know little things about money. Like if you save your money, you'll have more money than if you spend it. We know these things, right? And also, I could probably show you how to invest. There was a pastor who asked me, he said, if we did a 5 hour seminar on investing, could you show our congregation how to invest? I said, yeah, I could show you how to invest in 5 minutes with $5. Like it's not that hard actually to participate in the stock market. You'd be shocked at how simple it can be. Um, a lot of times it's not about what knowing what to do, it's about actually doing it. And so when I had the little extra belly gut, I knew what I needed to do to lose weight. I didn't need somebody to explain to me that going to the gym and eating fewer Twizzlers or whatever was going to make a difference. I knew these things, but I needed an accountability partner. I needed a space where I was surrounded by people doing that. I needed somebody to nudge me and remind me not of the man that I am, but to remind me of the man that I need to be. So a lot of you in your journey, in terms of trying to grow economically or change habits, I really encourage you to consider the power of community, the power of connecting and being around people that get it, that think the way you do, that want the same things that you want, that want the very best for you, because that will make a big difference because everybody's affected by peer pressure. I talked to my daughter about that this morning. Literally, she's 15. I said, yeah, at 14 and 15, you're heavily influenced by peer pressure. But I said, that never goes away. I said, you always want to be around people that want you to be the person that you're supposed to be. So just to let you know how important it is to keep things simple. And I got that from my father, actually. I was telling back when I was overweight, I remember telling my dad, I mean, I don't know what happens at 40, but there's something about being 40. Anybody else ever go through this where literally every year you just gain weight just because? Like, I don't know if anybody else goes. If you're under 40, just know this is what you have to look forward to. But when I hit 40, it just seemed like weight would just pop on for whatever reason. And so I was talking to my father, and I was like, yeah, I was trying to lose weight, and I was thinking about trying this diet and that diet, and getting a trainer, and doing this, and going to this special gym, and all this other stuff. And he was literally like, he looked at me, and he said, just take your fat ass to the gym and stop eating so many Twizzlers. That's literally what he said. And he just kept it simple. He said if you exercise every day, you can't get that fat. You can only get so fat if you run 2 or 3 miles a day. So literally, in order for me to lose the weight, I just did simple stuff. I didn't do anything fancy or complicated or anything different from what I already knew to do. I just did the basics. So when you talk about building wealth and changing your habits, just do the basics. Stick to the simple stuff. Don't overcomplicate it because it only stress you out. All right, so I'm gonna ask you all a quick question. Let me know if this is okay. If I rock it out and level up your learning today, is it okay if I spend 10 minutes giving you a special opportunity to join our community in the Black Business School? Let me know if it's okay. Give me a quick yes in the comments so that I know that it's okay. I don't want to make it seem like a gotcha moment when I mention that to you. I want you to know that I am going to invite you to join. I'll try to make it worth your while. I hopefully can convince you to consider joining us and convince you that we are real and we actually get real results. So give me a yes. Okay, I see Martinette and Rodney and Deborah and Tara. Okay, great. Virginia, thank you. Tiana, okay. Tiana, I saw Tiana Taylor, that really pretty singer, dancer, actress. She's so talented. I saw her on the show the other day. She's so amazing. She's pretty extraordinary. Anyway, let's keep going. All right, so thank you so much for mentioning that. I appreciate that. So let's jump into some stuff here. All right, so first thing I want to talk about is stock options and what a stock option is. Everyone on earth who wants money should know what a stock option is. Very important. A stock option is just like an option in life. It's the right to do something, but not the obligation. So I want to ask you a question and answer me in the chat. How many of you, do you know what it means to have options? Anybody know what it means to have options or not have any options? Like if you're dating, do you know what it feels like to have a lot of options of people that you can date versus not having a lot of options? If you're looking for a job, we know what it means to have a lot of options. We know what it means to not have enough options, right? That's what options are. Options are the same thing in the financial markets. They just have a specific application of a concept that you already know. You've always known what a stock option was. I'm just going to formalize it a little bit so you can specifically know it, right? So an option is the right to do something, but not the obligation. So in the financial markets, for example, you might have what you call the right to buy someone's stock between now and next Friday. There's pretty much mainly two things you can do in the stock markets is buy something or sell something. I mean, there's other things you could do, right? Fancy stuff, but really, you're either gonna buy something or you're gonna sell something. That's kind of, if I go to the flea market, either I'm a buyer or a seller, right? Maybe I'm an observer, right? But I'm not really participating. I'm watching. But outside of that, you got buyers, you got sellers. So with options, you have the right to buy or the right to sell. Those are called calls and puts. They have those, that's what they are. Okay. So for example, someone may say, I have the right to buy your stock between now and next Friday. And a lot of times I'll specify a price. And so every option has a buyer and a seller. So you can buy and sell these options. You can buy and sell these rights. And so, how many of you have ever heard about, for example, someone owning land and someone buying the water rights? Anybody ever seen that? Or maybe an actor or actress writes a great script, and the studio says, "We don't want to buy your script, but we're going to buy the rights to your script. We don't want to pay for your story, but we'll buy the rights to your story." What does that mean? Anybody ever wonder what that means? Anybody ever seen situations like that? Okay, yeah. So what that really means is when I say I'm going to buy the rights to something, it means that I'm kind of buying a placeholder. It means I'm sort of I'm constraining something here in terms of saying, look, I may not buy it, but I'm going to give you some money just to hold my spot, and you have to give me the right to make the first move, to buy something or to sell something, right? NFL teams do it all the time. They'll sign a player to a contract, and they'll say there's a third year option on the player, and the question about an option is, well, who owns the option? Because two people can't have the option; it has to be one or the other. And so the team might say, well, so they might say it's a third year team option. And what they'll usually do is they'll specify the time like till the option kicks in, and they'll specify the price. So the team may say, we want to give you extra money to have an option to re-sign you in the third year for $10 million, right? So a lot of times you specify the terms of the trade, the terms of the agreement. So you might say it's going to be 10 million and you only got 3 years to exercise the option. After 3 years, you can't use the option. So there's always a deadline, there's always a price. In pretty much every type of financial option, there's always a deadline, there's always a price, right? So the question at that point is who owns the option? So options literally are almost like shoes. You can sell an option to somebody else. I could sell someone the right to buy my house. I could say, here, give me 50,000, and you have the right to buy this house anytime in the next 5 years for $500,000. And if you don't exercise it in 5 years, the option expires. You can't use it anymore. It's like rotten eggs or something, right? So moving on. Here, every option has a buyer and a seller. The market's massive. There's 70 million of these contracts that get sold every day. I make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year selling options. I have students that make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year selling options. It's something that you can actually do. It's real money. And it's what I consider to be the seasoning of the stock portfolio. It's something that you can do to spice up your investing experience. And I'm going to show that in a little more detail in a second. So here's the thing about options. Everybody likes to buy options. They like to buy these call options. And the reason they buy them is because there's these little things you can pay a couple of dollars for. And if the stock goes up and then the option goes up in value and they make a bunch of money. But the problem is most people who buy options don't make a lot of money. They're sort of gambling. They buy the option and they hope the stock will go up, which makes the option price go up, and they'll make money that way, but they usually lose money. So I don't like to buy options that often. I sell them. I sell them because I can sell them and make money. But buying them is more what you call speculation. That's sometimes in extreme forms it can become a type of gambling. So, for example, if you go to the casino and you put money down on the roulette wheel, $50 on black, you're buying an option. You're investing to some extent, and if it lands on black, then you make money. If it doesn't, then you lose money. I don't really like gambling. But on the other side of that option, on the other side of that deal is the casino. You got the house. So the house sells you the option. They say, okay, give me $50. And if this thing hits black, then you can get, $400 or something, or maybe not black. Let's say it hits 16 black, right? Let's make it interesting, right? So if it hits 16 black, then you make $1,000 or something, right? But if it doesn't, we keep the money. So they're not trying to get the big win. They're trying to get the little win. The little win is You give them the money. Most of the time, you may not win, and then we're going to end up win, right? Because in between the gambler and the house, who always wins? Right in the chat. Does the gambler usually win, or does the house win? What do y'all think? The house. The house always wins. All right. So with that said, I don't want to be the gambler. I like being the house. So one person that buys the option is looking for risk. The other person is looking to get rid of risk. So when they sell you the chance, the gambler the chance to gamble, they're selling him risk. They're saying, "Hey, here's a chance for you to make some money." Like a lottery ticket in a way. That's another example, right? And if you don't, if you do, so basically, I don't want you to take risk. I want you to learn how to sell risk to other people. So I don't buy many stock options. I sell them to others. That's how I make income for my family, and it does work. It's a pretty straightforward process if you know how to manage the risk in the process and know exactly what you're getting into. All right. So what are you selling exactly? Uh, Hold on. Yasmin, did you want me to unmute? No, it's okay. So okay, give me a second. Am I okay, Yasmin?
Yes, you're good now. Sorry, that was an accident.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. That's
All
Yasmin. Say hi
good.
to Yasmin and tell her I said thank you
Hi,
for
guys.
everybody say thank you because she's hooking us up and helping
My
us out.
bad.
So here, so the question would be, what am I selling? If someone's giving me money for something, what wait, there we go. Can you hear me now? Okay, I muted myself. Sorry. Let's back up. Okay, thank you, Llewellyn. I can see him. I couldn't see everybody else, but I saw Llewellyn. Llewellyn was doing like this, like stop it, stop it. Thank you. I appreciate you very much. All right, so let's start over here. So what are you selling? So let's say that you have a stock, and the price of the stock is $80 a share, and you don't know if that stock's going to go up or down. You don't know what's going to happen. And but let's say someone else sees you owning this stock, and they want a piece of the action. They don't want to buy the stock, but they want to participate in the upside, right? That's why people invest. They want some whatever they own to go up in value. So let's say there's somebody who believes that there's a good chance that this stock will rise above $82 within 1 week. Well, what you can do is they can pay you money and they can make an agreement with you and they could say, if your stock goes to 82 or higher, I have the right to buy your stock for $82, right? It's not at 82 yet, it's still at 80, but I will pay you so much money right now for the right to own to buy your stock from you if it goes past 82. Really, that's kind of like taking a business partner, right? It's kind of like you have a business and someone says, "Well, I'll give you $50,000 for 5% of your profits," or something like that, right? So here, instead of that, it's very specific. It says that in the agreement, if this stock rises past 82 and within a week, it has to be within 1 week. After a week's done, it's over. We're not doing this anymore. It's over after a week. You got to do another contract if you want to, keep the game going. If it goes above 82, I get to buy your stock for $82. So why would this be a win-win? Well, if the stock goes above 82, okay, number one, you're selling for 82. You make $2 a share because you sold it at a price that was higher than it was when you sold the contract. Number two, they have to pay you money to even do the deal. They have to pay you money for that. So let's say someone gives me $1 per share just to be in the game, just for the rights to my stock, and then the stock goes up past 82, then they've got to pay to finish the game. So I make money from the selling the premium or selling the option, and then I make money from selling the stock. Does that make sense? Does everybody get that? Give me a yes in the chat if that makes sense. I want to make sure I don't lose anybody. I know sometimes I talk fast. Okay, how common are options? They're very common. They're everywhere. There's 70 million contracts a day that are traded. This is not new. This is something lots of people do. So if you are selling the option, basically, theoretically, just sort of figuratively speaking, they're the gambler, you're the house. Why do I say that? Well, because if the stock doesn't go past 82, you know what? The money that they put in you get to keep that regardless. That's your money, no matter what. So if it doesn't go past 82, then you say, "Oh, sorry, time's up. You want to play again?" Right? And then they can buy another option if they want to, right? But if it does go past 82, then you say, "Okay, no problem. You can buy my stock from me." Right? Which is fine to some extent because you're selling something for more than what you bought it for. That means you won there too. So you're not really losing. It's not something where it's like either I win or you lose. I don't want you to think of it like that. I want you to think of it as either I win or we lose, right? Or so scratch that. Let me scratch that. Let me say that again. Either I win or we both win. There we go. That's a better way to look at it. Either I win or we both win, right? So ultimately, this is why I love selling options. Now, remember though, also when you're the owner of the stock, you ownership comes with responsibility. So the one side of it that you want to keep in mind is when you own stock, you're responsible for whatever that stock does. So that means that that stock goes, it doesn't go up to 82. Let's say it goes down to 75. Well, that's still your stock. Did you lose money? Not yet. There's a difference between an unrealized loss and a realized loss. A realized loss is when you sell at a lower price. That means game's over, you lost. But an unrealized loss means it's like being in a basketball game where your team's not winning anymore, right? Just because you're not winning right now doesn't mean you lost the game. You've lost the game when the buzzer strikes zero, right? So there's a difference. So keep that in mind when you own an asset. And this is just a little side note about investing. A lot of people get really caught up in making these short-term moves with stocks and stuff like that. That's not the right way to invest. The best way to invest is hold your assets for a long period of time and hold a whole bunch of them. If you do that over a 10-year period and you got a bunch of different stocks that are high quality investments, historically you can almost never lose money that way. People lose money in stocks because they want to flip and move really fast and buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, and they're thinking very short term. Investing in a stock to me reminds me a little bit of marriage. When I married my wife, I knew marrying her because my father was married to my mother 50 years. I knew that every day wasn't going to be a good day. Every month wasn't going to be a good month. Sometimes you'd have a bad year. But if you're a long-term investor, then you have the good years and the bad years, and then when you get to the end, it all kind of piles up, and you sort of come to a conclusion, right? And so ultimately, my mother invested in my father like he was a stock. He wasn't always at his best. Sometimes his price went down, sometimes his price went up, but she held on to the stock. She was a buy and hold investor. And in the stock markets, buy and hold investing is what makes you money. That is what guarantees you wealth. It is not the fast flipping. So when people come up and they say, "Hey, let's day trade and buy the stock at 2 o'clock and sell it at 7 o'clock and make money," I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying that it's always a terrible idea. I'm saying that you're probably taking on much more risk than you might expect. Okay, so moving on. So a few things I want to show you is one, why selling stock options is better than real estate. I do real estate and I like this so much better. Two, I'm explaining to you why selling stock options is easier than running a business. I've run businesses and it's been fun, but this is easier. And then three, I'm explaining to you why selling stock options is better than simply owning shares of stock. A lot of you have thought about owning stock. If you don't own stock, I encourage you to do it. The stock market is the number one wealth driver in America. Anybody who does not have wealth and is trying to build it and they're not using the stock market, it confuses me a little bit because it's like you're trying to find water in the desert. If you want to find water, you got to go to the places where the water lives. You want to go to the lakes and the rivers and the oceans. The stock market is the financial ocean. That's where if you want to get wet and you want water, you go to the water. You don't go to the desert. So people that skip the stock market, it's like you're walking right past the lake or a river looking for water, and then you go to the Sahara Desert and you say, "Why is there no water around?" So ultimately, the stock market is the number one wealth driver in America. This is what I wrote my dissertation on. This is my area of expertise, and I encourage you to consider that as you make your financial decisions. Next, okay, so let's jump into real estate. All right, so real estate is, I like real estate. My wife and I bought a house in Atlanta, and we love this house. It was so great. We have this big, beautiful plan to, buy the house and rent it out and make cash flow and stuff like that. And then, even though I knew this, it was different when it's different when you experience it. But one of the people that worked on the house for me, he sent me this picture of our downstairs bathroom. And basically, what happened was that because I forget stuff, I forgot to pay the electricity bill, which caused the sump pump to back up. And then suddenly I had this bathroom that was covered in mold and leaking, and it was leaking into the unit next door. And so I think the rent was 3,500 a month. It cost me about $10,000 to get all that fixed, and I had to pay the neighbor too because I messed up his property also. And that's what I kind of learned or was reminded something about real estate. I'm not saying real estate's always bad, but I did kind of have an epiphany about it in terms of realizing that just because something can make you money or cash flow doesn't mean it's always for you. And so one of the things that I also realized is that I told my wife, I said, that same amount of money, if we could put that money into stock options instead of buying property, the ROI would be much higher. Actually, when I compared the two, I made a lot more money selling my options. So literally the amount of money I put into the property to the down payment and everything else, I said, look, we could have just taken that and done it over here, done this over here, and made more money doing that than actually dealing with this property. And I would have these recurring like concerns where I'd be thinking, gosh, what if the carbon monoxide detector is not working and somebody dies inside the house? Then that's a infinite liability because it's a person's life, and just little things like that. So I'm not saying real estate is terrible. I still own the house. I still own real estate, but I became more aware that the kind of investor you are should shape how you make your money. Now, if you just love real estate and that's your jam and you're just really into it, then by all means should keep doing it. In fact, I believe everyone should own something in real estate because that's a great way to diversify. But if you're just doing it for the money, this is a far easier and simpler way to generate cash flow than buying a bunch of property and dealing with all the paperwork and all the bureaucracy and just the amount of time it takes to buy the property, the amount of time it takes to sell it, the amount of energy it takes to have somebody call you and tell you that the toilet's broken in the middle of the night. I didn't want to deal with all that. My stock options, I can literally buy them and sell them in a matter of minutes. There is no middleman. There's no broker I got to call. There's no banker I got to talk to. None of that. I can hop on my app. I did it this morning. I can hop on my app and sell some options and pull money out and have it within 30 seconds. You can't do that with real estate because real estate is what you call an illiquid asset. Illiquid assets have what is called a transactions cost. That is the cost of making it liquid, the cost of selling it. So you might have something that has a lot of value, but if you don't have a buyer that you can get in a matter of seconds, it's going to take you a while to sell it, especially something really illiquid like art. Art takes forever to find a buyer because not everybody wants to buy art. Stock options, I can get on my app at 9:30 a.m and find a buyer in 25 seconds and generate $10,000 that quick selling options on my stock. So that's one of the reasons why I like this. I like this so much better than real estate. All right. So the next thing I've done is I've started a lot of businesses. I believe deeply in business ownership. I think that in this society, that's how you obtain economic power, especially as the world is changing because of things like AI, stuff like that. I think every child in our community should know how to start a business. And I've started a few and I eventually learned how to do it the right way, and it worked out. I love the freedom of running a business. It's great to do what you want to do with people that you want to do it with. That's the greatest joy, actually. It's much more greater than just the money. The money's been nice, but it's really working with family. I spend much more time with family because of that. Also, I love the people I work with, and I love what I do. Like I'm really passionate about this. So that's a reward that money cannot buy. So the money was nice. I made some money with my brother through the years. The problem I ran into about 45 years old and beyond was I would get tired. I got tired of working all day. I didn't like working because if you've ever, has anybody ever started a business and really wanted to make your business succeed? Anybody ever seen how hard you have to work to really be a successful entrepreneur? That's not something that's talked about a lot, right? Anybody know what I'm talking about? You're doing the 14-hour days. And what's crazy is that that you do all this, you put in all this time with the hopes that one day you can make money. Like you're hoping 80% of all black owned businesses fail. So you're putting in 12, 13, 14 hours a day, hoping that maybe if you do that consistently, then in 2 years, you're going to be making money, or maybe in a year, or maybe in 6 months, you'll be making a profit. And so so a lot of times when we invest in a business, we think about that 10, 20, or 30,000 we put to start the business or get the business going. We're not thinking about the 100,000 hours of labor that you put into the business, right? So ultimately, I realized that there are other things to life other than working. I know people that are successful lawyers that charge some crazy amount of money, like $500 an hour, and they have an endless supply of clients, which seems like a dream job. But then what happens is you notice their quality of life starts to fall apart. Their health starts to suffer, high blood pressure, obesity, stuff like that. Their families struggle sometimes because your wife hasn't seen you in 6 months, so she's out sleeping with the pool boy or something. You don't know why. Your kids don't even know you anymore. things like that. And don't forget your mental health, right? So really what I began to figure out is even as I was having 5 meetings a day, I still do, I still work a lot, and it can be exhausting. I don't want to work for money anymore though. I started thinking deeply about what capital is, and what happens is that we're trained to believe that capital that makes money for us is supposed to be our body and our time. You trade your health, your physical and mental health, and your time for a paycheck, and that's not a fair trade. Money is these pretty worthless green pieces of paper called dollar bills, but your life is much more valuable than money. Your time with your kids is more valuable than money. Your physical and mental health much more valuable than money. So to make that trade fair, I encourage you to look into passive ways to build capital that so that your money can work for you. Stock options are a great way to do that because as you're trying to pay bills, one epiphany that I hope you'll consider is that passive income is a whole lot more enjoyable than active income because you not only have the money, but you also have your life. You have money and you have time. A lot of people that have money don't have time. People that have time don't have any money. Uh, if you're a saver and you have people you can partner with on this, then it actually gives you the ability to have both, which is how you unlock an enjoyable life. And hopefully you'll pass that to your kids because if they start early, I'm talking about early, not even in their 20s. I'm talking about like 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, where you're teaching them things and positioning them early. Those kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews can have this as their reality. They won't grow up thinking they have to give their whole life away to a corporation. That's not healthy. All right. So the last piece that I want to throw in here is stocks. I love stocks. Love the stock market. Big believer in it. 100%. I own stocks in hundreds of companies, and my students do. I buy stock almost every time I get extra money. It's my fun little hobby. Stock market investing is the number one key to wealth, 100%. However, you have to wait until your stock price goes up. And this was something that led me to dig deeper on stock options because I had so many students that would ask me, okay, when can I sell my stock? When should I sell? And the question I ask when people say, well, when should I sell? Is I say, well, why would you sell? And I say that because if you look at what wealthy people do, wealthy people don't really sell their assets that often. Wealthy people hold their stuff. They hold it, and then when they need money, they just go get a loan. They borrow against what they own, and they don't pay taxes because it's a loan. And then they die, and then they die, and they pass it to their kids, and their kids get what you call a stepped up tax basis. That means that all the capital gains that they made throughout the course of their life, like even if they bought that house for 40K and it's now worth 1 million, their kids, the government will assume that their kids bought the house for $1 million. And so wealthy people don't really sell stuff that often. But then I started thinking about it. I said, well, sometimes we have bills to pay. Sometimes we want to enjoy our life. Sometimes we want a little cash in our pocket. So I realized that the number one problem of my students was not how do I acquire wealth. That was more of a secondary problem. The primary problem was how do I get money to pay bills. That seemed to be the biggest thing everybody was thinking about. How do I pay bills and how do I have extra money that will allow me to enjoy my life? And so ideally, you want to be able to do both: build the wealth, pay the bills, have some cash, right? Options are great for that type of thing. So instead of waiting for your stocks to go up or down, or maybe being a little disappointed because you might have a whole year where everything's going down and you may not feel comfortable selling. Uh, an- Options give you another stream of income outside of the stock that allows you to enjoy the fruits of your labor and your investing. So you have years like 2022 that are blood red. This has been an amazing year for investing. 2025 has been so good. Everybody in class is jumping up and down because they're all making so much money. And this is not me making these things up. I'll show you. I ask people to give me honest testimonials. I don't want anybody out here lying and pretending. I just find, and I literally randomly grab people. I don't pick specific people. I just say, if you made money, let me know how well you're doing, how much have you made. We do surveys, stuff like that. But sometimes you have years like this. 2022 was a blood red year, but it was a beautiful year. It was a blessing because blood red years are the best time to buy. That's when you can make the most money because you get to buy everything cheap. But sometimes you don't see that, right? This is why mental health is so important because if you have a trauma response and you see things blood red and they're going down, 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 and you own the stock, then maybe you freak out and you run away and then you never invest again. Then you miss out on all the hundreds of thousands of dollars you would have made by being a little calmer, a little patient. So the third epiphany that I picked up with stock market investing is that a bird in the hand is better than 10 birds in the bush. What do I mean by that? If you have stock and you're waiting for the stocks to go up, sure, that stock could double, it could triple, it could do whatever. But maybe it doesn't, maybe it's never going to do that. However, before anything happens going forward, you can sell that potential. You can sell the potential of the stock, right? So if I have $100 stock, it may never go up to 101. It may never go up to 110. It may go up to 150. Nobody knows. But the fact that you can sell that, like you can sell the potential of the stock, to me is a beautiful thing because I have stocks that have a certain price point and I can sell options and get real money in my account within 30 seconds just selling potential, selling something that hasn't even happened yet. That to me is the closest thing I've ever seen to a financial magic trick. So you don't have to sell your stocks to generate the income. You can sell the options. And you also don't have to wait to see what happens in order to generate the income. You don't have to wait for it to go up for you to make the money. You can actually just sell the option on it. And also the other thing too is you don't have to be greedy to invest. A lot of times greed beats us up and tears us down. Selling options is it is a strategy that would be considered to be assertive and what you call bullish, meaning that you're looking for the stock to go up, you're looking to make money, but you're conservative too. It's conservative because you're basically saying, I'm taking a little bit of my money off the table just in case this dream never comes true. So if I'm a person who doesn't believe in fairy tales, and this is my bias, I believe in things that are real. In fact, I tell people all the time, I get people that ask me to invest in stuff, and I say, you know, I have more faith in a business that generates $10,000 than in an idea that might generate $10 million. Because if you generate a real $10,000, there's a big difference between real and fake. And so, because people will sell you fake all day, they'll sell you a fantasy all day. But the fact that this is real money, the fact that you could take some of the stuff we talk about today, do it tomorrow, and generate real money in your account that you can really take to the grocery store, that's as real as it gets. And so I like real stuff. All right. So the thing about these options is also when you sell those options, you're letting other people take the risk. So the person buying that option from you, that's who agrees, like, okay, your stock's at 80, I'll give you money for the rights to buy your stock at 82. They're speculating. They're taking the risk. They're saying, hey, look, I'll take some of that off your hands. Here's some money. Put that in your pocket. And if it goes to 82, I'll buy it. But if it doesn't go to 82, then you can keep my money. I think that's pretty cool. All right. So moving on. So here is an example, a real life example with real numbers on a stock that I've used a lot to generate income from called Coinbase. A lot of you, how many of you have heard of Coinbase? Anybody heard of Coinbase? They do a lot of crypto stuff like that, right? All right. So Coinbase's stock price at the time I put this slide together was 317.15. So let's say that you had 100 shares of Coinbase. To sell options, you got to have at least 100 shares. So 100 shares of this stock would cost about $31,715. For some of you, that's a reasonable number. For some of you, that's a little bit tougher. There's cheaper stocks. So if the stock is $10, 100 shares means it costs $1,000 to do this. But here I like 31,000. It's a nice neutral number. Or if you really want to make it interesting, imagine having 1,000 shares, which would be $317,000. And the reason I use a number like that is because a lot of you are in real estate. And if you're in real estate, you'll know that you can't really buy good property for $317,000 really anymore because the average house in America now is over $400,000. So anyway, so moving on, let me show you what you can do with this. So basically, what you can do is you can go into your phone and you can pick what is called the strike price. And that is the price that you agree to sell your stock for if it hits that price between now and the expiration date. So let's say you pick a strike price of 335. They always give you a whole menu. They call it the options grid. So I pick 335 where I say, yeah, you know what, if it hits 335, I'll sell it. You can buy it for 335. Well, if I have 100 shares, this is the amount of money that I'd have to come up with to make this investment to own this asset. They have something called margin where I'd have to put up maybe about 60% of the money. So not the whole 31,000, but maybe a little bit more than half. And the option premium per share, the amount of money that someone will pay me in the market for that contract will be $11.90 per share. So $11.90 per share for 100 shares is $1,190. So what just happened here? I can go on my phone and say, hey y'all, I'm willing to sell my stock at 335 within the next month if anybody wants to buy the rights for that. And they say, sure, we'll give you $11.90 per share. I have 100 shares. I instantaneously in my account get $1,190. Then what they do is the app takes those shares and puts them in as collateral right? It just almost like betting on a basketball game where you have some guy in the middle who holds everybody's money to see what happens when the game ends. So the app will hold your shares. You can't sell them at that point. But once the buzzer's done, once the game is over, then you can do whatever you want. But in that time, they hold them there in case the stock goes past 335. So they're waiting to see one of two things. Is the stock going to be above or below 335 on the expiration date? If it's above 335, then the person will exercise their option. That means they're going to come in, they're going to put $33,500 into your account, so you'll have more money, but you won't have the stock anymore, right? So they'll buy it. So they're not taking your stock; they're buying it from you at the agreed upon price. So, on that day, I'm not unhappy. I just sold this $31,000 worth of stock for $33,000, so I made money there, and I got this money for this option, which they will never take back no matter what. If it's below 335, then this is what I got. This is what I got, and I can sell another contract right after that one. And there are people, thousands and thousands of people, who literally do this every month and literally pay their bills with that. There are people that you can talk to in the class right now who generate maybe 500 a week, $1,000 a week. Some people, when we took our group trip to Egypt, we have a great community of just amazing people, super smart people, professionals, doctors, lawyers, auto mechanics, just it's like single moms, like all kinds of people. And we went to Egypt, and there was a couple of guys that came up and said, "Yeah, I make $3,000 a week selling stock options." Now, to do that though, you have to own a lot of stock, and so these guys were they bought a lot of stock over time, and they work with their family. Some of them have family groups. They do it as a family. It's There's a lot of different ways you can skin this cat. It's really a great family business, in my opinion. So if the stock rises above 335, then you would get 335 minus 317 times 100 shares plus 1190, which is $2,940. So if it doesn't rise above that number, then you would just get the 1,190. But either way, you're making this money in 1 month. Okay. So that's an example using Coinbase. So, all right. So let's move on. So let me ask you a question. Answer me in the chat. Earlier, you said that if I rocked it out and I gave you some value, that it would be okay for me to make an offer for you to join our community. How did I do? Did you learn something today? Do you feel, does some of this excite you? Does some of this interest you? Do you think that any of this is relevant for you? What do you think? Did I do it? How did I do? Let me know. If I didn't do it, let me know in the chat. If I didn't do a good job, then I shouldn't be talking further. I hope I did a good enough job. I hope that you liked what you were saying. I know this stuff excites the heck out of me because I think money is a good thing. And so if you feel that way, then stick around. If you don't feel that way, then it's okay to go. It's really okay. Like I'm not here to force you to do anything or beg you or anything like that. I just want to encourage you to consider it as something that you may want to do with your family. Okay. So thank you. I see some yeses. Tara says exciting. Okay, cool. I love this. And it's exciting to me too. I like stuff that works. I told you there's so much stuff out here that doesn't work, and it's a waste of time. I don't waste time on things that don't work. And the benefit of having a PhD in this stuff is I've gone through it all. I've seen it all. You just all you do is you're constantly reading papers and research papers about money constantly and investing, and you're learning who has money, why they have money, how they got their money, how they lost their money, all these other things. Money, 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 money. And then what happens is you're able to go through and throw away 98% of the ways people go about trying to get money, and you say, no, this is the 2% that works. The other 98% doesn't work at all. So ultimately, that's the goal, is to get you right to the money as soon as possible. So let's keep going here. So let me introduce you to our program. It's called the Dr. Boyce Watkins Passive Recurring Income Machine. And if you want the URL to go even take a look at it right away, you can. It's drboyceprime.com, drboyceprime.com. And the Prime program is really popular. A lot of people enjoy it. It's a great community. It's an amazing group of people, and we meet on a regular basis. And all we do is we talk about ways to generate extra money. And so it's a coaching community focused primarily on stock options and generating income, consistent income. The income is safe and passive. There are risks. All investing involves risk. I make that clear from the very beginning. I'm gonna continuously remind that. But it's conservative, right? So it's not built for crazy stuff, like the day trading and all that. I don't do that stuff, so I'm not here to encourage anybody else to do that. And also at Dr. Boyce Prime, we do a lot of research. We dig into which assets generate the most money, where the opportunities are, things like that. And we mostly focus on income. And the goal is to have cash to pay bills and things like that. And then also we do talk about long-term investing as well. So here's some things that you get in the program. First thing you get access to is you get access to our biweekly coaching calls. And this is where we meet every couple of weeks online, right in a Zoom. And the students ask me a billion questions, and I give them a billion and one answers. And we go through all kinds of stuff. I tell them what's in my portfolio, what I'm thinking, opportunities that I see. So one example recently was Oklo stock. I'd did some research on what was going on with AI and the fact that there's going to be an energy shortage. And I followed Sam Altman, the founder of OpenAI, and I said he's invested in this company called Oklo that's going to be building these small modular reactors. And we started talking about Oklo in class when it was about $8 a share. Now Oklo is about $140 a share. This does not happen all the time, but that was one example of a few where the stock just blew up. And a lot of, and what I love about it is that hundreds of the students bought this stock. So literally they've made millions of dollars collectively. If you add up the amount of money they made, they've all done well with this. So it's really cool to see that happen. And also you get access to a financial Juneteenth investing masterclass that you can feel free to take a look at. If you're new to investing and you're not sure what to do and it's confusing for you, which don't join the club, a lot of people feel a little intimidated by it, then this masterclass will get you through. We over deliver on explainable, relatable, down to earth content. I love analogies. I've been called the analogy king because I believe that everything we need to know is already in us. We just need to relate it to something that we already know. So I might use an analogy where I might say, well, it's kind of like if you have sex with a person that you're not attracted to, and then like I'll just throw stuff like that out, and it's really because everybody understands that, right? And then it's like, now let's relate that to stock options, and so that's kind of my teaching style, and I can't apologize for it because if I acted like I was going to stop, then I'd be lying. Access to what Dr. Boyce is buying. So every week I curate a list of stocks that I really like, companies that I believe, based on my research, are going to have a high probability of doing well, long term and short term. And then I talk about not just which ones I like, but why. Like, what's the stock? This stock's good for income. This stock's good for growth. This stock's good if you like risk. This stock is good if you want to be safe. If you think there's a recession coming, you may want to buy this, that kind of thing. All right, what else? You get access to our monthly family investment support group consultations with my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins. Now, why is that important? Well, my wife, she's really good at what she does. She's a full professor of social work and a licensed therapist. So she's not just a therapist. She trains therapists on how to be a therapist. So when they want to get their license, she trains them on how to get the license. That's how deep in the game she is. She cares deeply about the community. She's also a certified trauma expert. And what we found in our research, because nobody studies this, nobody really studies Black economic psychology on a large scale. It just doesn't happen at a lot of universities because they don't care about people like us. I guess I have no idea. And so we started doing research. We worked with a guy at the University of Kentucky. I don't have his name in my head, but they're doing original research, and what they're finding is that heavy amounts of trauma in our community affects your investing style. So if you grew up traumatized and scared and hurt, and people did bad things to you, it affects how you view investing. And so money gets lost, trillions of dollars gets lost because of undiagnosed, untreated trauma. So what she does is she does support group communities that you can be a part of for free as a member of Prime, where she will make sure that not only do you know what to do, but you have the right mindset to do it and to get it done, how to deal with and manage your trauma responses. And what happens is it doesn't just help you with your financial wealth, it helps you in all the things that money can buy, like you better relationships, better mental health, stuff like that. We want a holistic approach to investing, not just how do you make more money. That part's easy. The other part is how do you have a better life, right? So what else do you get access to? You get access to our family investment club training. We're very big on family, not just husband, wife, family, but just any kind of family, meaning a community, a group of people that you have in your space that are rooting for you, that are encouraging you, that are working with you to move to a better place. And so we lay out a whole framework on how to form a family investment club, because the first thing you're going to want to do when you start realizing what's out here is you're going to want to take it back home to your family, your wife and your kids and whoever's in your life, right? And so we give you guidance on how to introduce that to them, how to get them involved. And in fact, I'll tell you this right now. Basically, how people do like buy one get one free stuff, whatever. We don't have buy one get one free. We have like buy one get five free, meaning if you sign up yourself, then your whole family can come to class. And not only do we allow it, we encourage it. because we find that if you have a community of people around you that are thinking the same way, that really get it, stop, think about it. I mean, give me a yes or no. How many of you um have most are in a situation where most of the people that you love and that are close to you have no idea what stock options are, how they work? Give me a yes if literally stock options were something that was never mentioned in your household growing up. Like, give me a yes if like you've never even heard of it. I mean, really, that's a lot of people. A lot of people, so you come in saying that, yeah, you can sell stock options, man, and you can make them. They're gonna look at you like you're crazy. So you bring them to class, let them meet me. I've met with families. I've met with dozens of our families, and I talk to them, and then after it's done, it becomes easier. Then they're like, yeah, now my cousin's listening. My grandma, she gets it now, right? And that's what we want. We want that momentum in the family. I want you to have people that are behind you. And if that doesn't work, that's cool. You got a family right here in the Black Business School and the All Black National Convention. It's a completely family atmosphere. It's beautiful. It's amazing. We've been doing this for 10 years and we're damn good at what we do. Lastly, you also get access to what I call Dr. Boyce money makers. And these are personally curated stocks that I find specifically for the purpose of generating income. And so I release the moneymaker grid once a month and everyone tends to ask for it. So it's pretty popular. What else do you get? A couple more things. You get access to a training program on how to invest in stock options. So if you want to go a little deeper and learn a little bit more or cover more of the basics, we've got that available for you. And then also you get access to our stock market club, investing club, and that's Black Money 102, expanded topics in stock market investing. So when you're done, you're gonna know more about investing than pretty much everyone in the family. And so this is our goal. And then last but not least, we actually have a private community on a space called B1 Nation, and that's where you can actually talk to people that are in class. There's actually a little grid where you can find out who lives within 20 miles of your house. And the staff is in there, the team is in there to give you access to special privileges that you can't get elsewhere. All right. So the total value of all this stuff, if you were to add it all up and go right in and do it one by one, it would be $9,691 a year. The cost to attend Syracuse University, where I used to teach, just for reference, was $73,845. It's much higher since then. If you want to join, the investment to join is $2,999 per year. So, the questions I'm going to ask you are really simple. First of all, if you want a price decline, then we can drop that to $17.99 per year for those of you that want to sign up today. And I want to ask you this question and answer this in your head, or you can answer it in the chat. So, what if you did this and you made an extra $50,000 a year? Would it be worth it? Would it be worth it if you made an extra 50,000 and that was it? Yes or no? What if you made an extra 20,000 a year? What if it didn't go as well? What if you made 20,000 and that was your income? Straightforward, it's not hard to do. Would it be worth it? What if it went really bad? What if you only made $10,000 this year? Would it be worth it? Yes or no? Answer in the chat. That's how I want you to view anything that you do with us. Look at it as an investment. Um, Ask yourself, do I have a reasonable probability, just like with any investment, do I have a reasonable probability of getting more from them than I'm investing to be here? Right? That's it. That's the framework. That's the line of thinking. Okay. So just to give you a couple of testimonials, here's a couple of quotes from students. These are real people. This one says, I love the information given, the openness and honesty, the ability to communicate with Dr. Boyce to ask questions or to gain positive insight. Danny Dean, I answer 100,000 questions a year. I love talking to people directly about this because this is fun. Nathan Scott says, personally, I had no idea how to invest, how to save, or stocks. Put it like this, anything to do with finance. I would just get my money and spend it. I would have been a millionaire 5 times over by now if I knew what I know now from the Black Business School. And that's a real quote from a student, Nathan Scott. And we didn't curate these testimonials. We actually got them from people, and I said, I'm not out here. I'm not interested in being out here lying or making things up or trying to exaggerate things. I'm not into flash. I like substance. And I said, just say what's honest. Just, and these are the things that people said. So I put a few more of the quotes on my Instagram. My Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance if you want to follow me there. And Lisa Walker says, I made close to $10,000 this year just from listening to Dr. Boyce in the mornings. Let's see, Antoinette says finances have increased by 10 to 15,000 in the past year. Philip Plump says my wife's consistent stock options income is $500 to $1,000 per week. Russelin says, I am up by $2,200 in my Robinhood account. I have not cashed it out though. And then Marasa Bellington says, my wealth is growing, consistently participating in the $5 a day plan. I've also invested in Oklo up $1,000. So these are examples that I wanted you to see as well to show that you don't have to be in this, I made $1 million, I made $100,000 category. Sometimes an extra $500 a month makes a really big difference in paying bills and stuff like that, right? So if you're not at that big scale, I mean, there are students in there that literally have $1 million to invest, and they're literally making hundreds of thousands of dollars and 50,000, 90,000, 200,000. But then there's some who are making $300 a month. Well, $300 a month will pay a lot of car notes. $1,000 a month. $1,000 will pay a big chunk of the rent. It'll pay the car note and another bill, right? $2,000 a month. That's a successful business. If you're gonna go and invest 10, 20, $30,000 to start that business you were thinking about investing, or investing in, I would encourage you to consider using this as your business instead. Find the person you were going to do the business with and say, hey, instead of us putting this money into whatever we were going to do, let's try this thing over here. Just look into it. Right. And so again, I'll give the URL if you want to go and just look at the offer right away. You can do that. Go to drboyceprime.com. All right. So here's some more results. These results are real. Thanks, Doc. I'm averaging $2,200 per week doing covered calls. This thing really works. I'll be paying off my car in 2 more weeks. You the man. Okay, I didn't get the name of the person, but this is a real testimonial. We asked our students to share their perspective, and there's 1,000 more of these, but these are a few that I wanted you to see. So the monthly option to join the program, if you wanted to just pay monthly, is $3.99 per month. The discount price is $239 per month. And so here's a couple more quotes. One more. I love how you give everyday illustrations to explain what you're saying. I love that. I like to relate it to real life. Next, here's another one from Felicia Roseman. She says, the Black Business School has helped me and my family by providing a number of different areas for us to work on as a group to bring in additional income to our household. It's been so beneficial for us to learn about the different ways to create additional streams of income outside of paychecks so that we can eventually retire from having to work for somebody else. I need to go do a survey on the number of students that have quit their jobs. I met with a family just a week ago, and the wife said that she was going to retire 5 years from now, but she went ahead and quit. And her husband said, "Yeah, I want to quit too. That's the next goal." So this is the kind of stuff that can, especially if you've saved some money over time or whatever you paid down your house and stuff like that. It's very easy to use this as a way to generate the income you need to do what you want to do. All right, so if you wanted to look at examples of what an extra just $3,000 a month could do, the average car note in America is 503. The average used car note. The average mortgage payment on a $300,000 house is $2,071. So if you had a house with a mortgage of over $2,000 and you had a car with a note of 503, you would have, say, $426 left. This is the power of the side hustle right here, right? So you have the $426 left. That means you can save and invest without having to cut anything from your budget. You can keep spending on what you're spending on, and you've got this extra money. You've got a surplus now. If you invested that amount of money every month for 20 years in the stock market, you would have over $100,000, right? So not only does this create the ability to solve the short-term problem of paying bills, having extra cash, it solves the long-term problem of having money to invest. Sometimes having the extra money to invest is very difficult, and this is one thing that can help you with that process. So to just give you an incentive to join quickly if you want to, if you choose to do that, the first people to sign up, first 10 that sign up with the annual membership, one, you can get a private session with me and five other people to basically sit down and talk about your situation. So I have these VIP sessions with 5 people or less, and each person tells me their story, tells me what they're trying to do. We look at exactly where you are financially, where your gaps are, and I will speak with you directly. Also, you can get 2 free VIP tickets to the All Black National Convention. This year it's going to be in Brooklyn, New York, and that has a $1,498 value. So this is the value of everything added up in terms of the bonuses, $1,997. So you get that for free. So you get to be part of that community of other people that are doing exactly what you're seeking to do. Some are beginners, some are more experienced, some have been around hanging out with us for 10 years. And the key idea is that, when I think about our conventions and stuff like that, Money doesn't come to mind as the first word I think about. It's actually love. There's real love in the room. There's people that want to see you win. There are people that want you to be intelligent. They want your family to stay together. They want your kids to love you. They want to bring their babies. It's just it's what I we created this because that's what I dreamed about. I dreamed about a Black Wall Street, and we have that. We have built this. This is real. All right. So moving on. So here's a recap of what you get in case you got overwhelmed by everything that I offered earlier. The biweekly coaching calls. Sorry. The financial Juneteenth investing masterclass. You get access to what Dr. Boyce is buying, where I give stock tips, stock information to you every other week. You get access to the family investment support group with Dr. Alicia. You get access to the investment club training program, where you can take this to your whole family and do this as a family project. You get access to Dr. Boyce Moneymakers, the Moneymaker Grid that I put out for the students once a month. You get access to how to invest in stock options. That's another training program. You also get access to Black Money 102, so you can learn all about stocks if that's something that you'd like to do. You also get access to our private community of investors at B1 Nation, and you can sit and digitally talk to other folks that are in class with you, stuff like that. Now, here's one more bonus that this is a new thing that we just built, we just created. I just put together an app that is an options income calculator, and I call it Oink, like piggy, right? And so anyway, Oink, the options income calculator, get it? OINC. Basically, what it does is it allows you to put a stock in, and it will calculate how much money you can make in income from that stock if you decide to sell weekly options or monthly options, things like that. I'm releasing that next week. I have not announced this to anybody yet, but this is what you would actually get access to. And it was to solve a specific thing that students wanted. I could tell people would say, well, how much money can I make from this, and how do I make this amount? Well, Oink allows you to do that. You can literally go in on this app that we give the students access to, and you can put in a stock, Apple, Nvidia, whatever it is, whatever stock you're interested in, and it'll tell you how much money you could make. And then it's real time data, so you can go into your app right then, find the stock, punch in everything, follow the instructions, and literally pull money out just like you're pulling money from an ATM. So that's another added bonus that you would get for free as a member of Prime. All right, so you have these choices. Here are your choices. You can take no action at all. You could just say, okay, thank you. It was cool. Have a good day. I'm out of here, which is fine. No hard feelings at all. But what if you were able to make $1,000 a month doing this? Well, then that means that you're losing money. Every time you're not making money you could have made, you're losing money. So you're investing or giving away $1,000 a month. So over 12 months, you lose $12,000 from taking no action. If you were going to make 2,500 a month, then over 12 months, that's $30,000 a year. So the question is not whether or not you're invested here or not invested. The question is which investment's better for you. Because either way, something's going to cost you something, right? It's going to cost to be a part of the community, but it's an investment. You're making money. But then if you're not in the community, the cost that's paid in terms of opportunities that, for example, with Oklo stock, that stock went up from $8 to 138, and a lot of students made a lot of real money from that. And the ones who didn't participate, who were maybe too afraid or just didn't want to make a move, they're feeling some kind of way. They're having a lot of FOMO, right? And so ultimately the question is, which direction do you go? Right? Do you have fulfillment or regret? And it really comes down to whether you believe me or not, right? I've been speaking to you about this, and if you don't believe me, then I get that. That's fine. But if you do believe me, if you say, maybe this guy knows what he's talking about, maybe this actually does work, maybe those testimonies were real, then I would encourage you to just consider this, right? Just take a look and see how you feel. The URL is drboyceprime.com, by the way. And also, you can do this by yourself. That's another thing that I've seen people say, well, how do I just go do this on my own? And there's nothing wrong with that either. I support you 100%, whatever you do. But here's the thing. You won't have the guidance that we share in class. I spend a lot of time training the way I went through flight training. I got a pilot's license, and 75% of your training as a pilot is safety. Right? That's literally the number one thing. After I did that, my wife was really scared when I would get on these airplanes and fly by myself. But if she knew how much safety training we went through, she would probably feel much better. And planes are actually safer than you think. And so I kind of look at investing the same way. I don't want to see you financially traumatized. So I tend to be a pessimist. I'm the guy after everybody comes in and they're excited because they made a bunch of money. I'm usually the one who says, okay, you do know that a crash is going to occur at some point. You do know that a bad day is going to happen, and I want you to be ready for that. and you prepare for the bad days on the good days. You don't wait until the bad days happen and try to repair or prepare in reverse. Preparation is not the same as reacting. And so sometimes we get into the good times and we think the money's going to flow forever. My job is to try my best to do everything I can and share as much perspective that I'm seeing on what to look out for. So that's one benefit of being in class is I spend a lot of time preparing you for the risks of what you're doing. Everything has risk. Also, you won't get action alerts. So a lot of times when I see something that says, "Oh gosh, I want to put my money here," I'll tell the students, I'll send out a text or I'll send out an email and I'll let them know what's going on. So that's a benefit of being part of the community. Also, if you do it by yourself, you won't be part of the collective. The collective is a really valuable part of the group because you have people in there that have been doing this for a long time. They're regular folks, just like everybody in here. One guy's a truck driver, another person is a stay-at-home mom, maybe. Maybe it's a mom who runs a daycare. Maybe it's an executive that worked for a corporate, some corporation, or an attorney, or we got dentists and teachers and all kinds of people, right? And so these people are amazing. Like the energy is really positive and really strong. There's about 2,000 people in the community, and they have really healthy conversations with each other. In fact, we don't just encourage it; we actually really strongly encourage that, right? In fact, I've never had a time where I had to tell people to stop yelling at each other, something like that, because that just doesn't happen. Everybody supports each other and helps each other get information. Also, the direct coaching from me and my team, that's something you wouldn't get doing it on your own. I like to believe we can add tremendous value to your journey, and but I won't. I'll let you decide if I've convinced you if that's the case. Also, you won't get the insider secrets on which options to pick and strike prices and stuff like that. So a lot of times I like to break it down very specifically in simple step-by-step instructions. We have something called Prime 101, which gets you started. It gets you, from wherever you are to where you need to be able to jump in and make your first move. I also did a 10-step process called From Zero to Cash Flow, where literally I say, okay, let's say that you're right here and you don't know what to do next. Here are 10 steps to follow to set your account up, get ready to trade and get ready to invest. And here are some moves you can make right away that will put real money in your bank account. That's when it becomes real, is when you look in your account and you're like, oh, I've got money. I can spend this money. That's an amazing feeling. Once that happens, it's something that won't ever go away. So here's another quick testimony from Letitia Parker. She says, Dr. Boyce is so thorough in his explanations. The examples he gives are very clear and easy to understand. I highly recommend the courses because you will most definitely get your money's worth. Actually, you get more than your money's worth because he goes above and beyond in making sure that the students learn what they need to be successful. He's simply the best. So I appreciate Letitia saying that. And my goal is I do my best. If I am the best, I don't know, but I know I do my best, and that's never going to stop. So the URL, by the way, is drboyceprime.com. If somebody could type that in the chat, and yes, me, maybe you could type it in there every couple of minutes in case anybody wants to go, because I want to stay and answer a few questions that you may have. But it's drboyceprime.com. That's where you can see the offer, take a look, talk it over with your spouse, make a decision, jump in, however you want to go about it. Once you jump in and sign up, you can immediately pop in and start and go to work. There is so much stuff already in there that literally it would take you 10 years to go through everything if you tried to, because we've been doing this since maybe about 2001. And so there's probably, I'm gonna guess, 500 or 600 trainings and stuff like that I've done. So don't try to go through everything. That's not possible. I just want to make sure you have everything that you need. Okay. All right. So the everything that we offer in the Black Business School has what I call the Dr. Boyce hassle-free refund guarantee. That means if you're not happy for any reason, and you just say, "Oh man, this is not for me," it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. That's okay. Just email support at theblackbusinessschool.com anytime in the first 30 days, and not only will we give you a full refund, hassle free, we'll also give you a free $1,000 course. That's how confident we are that this is going to work. So we'll give you $1,000 worth of value in some other area as a thank you for giving us a try and taking a look. So there's no risk to you whatsoever, right? All that's out the window. It's 100% hassle free. We don't bother you or harass you about that. I only want you to invest in the school if you are going to receive a return on your investment. And that's what we do. That's the vision of the Black Business School. Is we I believe most educational institutions are inadequate for educating the people that come from where I come from. They don't understand the challenges. They're just not very good at preparing people to compete in a complex economy where jobs are disappearing every day. And I think that most institutions are doing a huge disservice to young people by training them all to go work for corporations that are going to give their jobs to a robot. I just, it's already happening, and I would encourage you to consider investing as a way to get ahead of this problem instead of being sucked in by it. Okay. So the website is drboyceprime.com. So feel free to go there and take a look if that's of interest to you. And I'd like to ask you all, lastly, does anybody have a question for me? If you have a question, then you can type in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. I don't know if I don't know. Yasmin, are they able to unmute themselves, or is that okay? Okay, yeah, you can unmute yourself and ask a question. It's totally up to you. Or if you have no questions,
And the bear.
you just now, who is that? Oh, I heard somebody talk for a minute. Okay, all right. So what I'm gonna do? Oh my goodness! And you know what? Actually, I don't have as much time for the Q&A as I thought. I got to pick our daughter up in a minute. So I'll answer a couple questions, and then I got to bounce up out of here. Oh, you do have questions? Okay, here we go. Let's see here. Oh, thank you for. Let's see. Okay, meeting and streaming on YouTube. Does that mean my wife can watch later? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. She certainly can watch later. It is streaming on YouTube. Let's see here. How long are the biweekly classes? They're about 90 minutes, and we just kind of go with the flow and try to see what's what. Um, let's see here. Yeah, yeah, and actually, one thing I wanted to mention is I mentioned the annual price of 17.99, and actually, one surprise that you'll find if you go to drboyceprime.com is it's actually not 17.99 for you guys. I actually changed it from 17.99 per year to 8.69. So if that helps you make your decision, then go get the best price. That was a glitch. We forgot about that. But yeah, just go get that price. And the monthly I think is 155. It's not 299, it's 155. So if that's something that you want to consider, feel free to go take a look. You can have that. I'm not going to change that. All right. So I'm gonna have to head on out of here, everybody. I hate having to go, but as you know, the kids, you got to take care of the baby. So I got to go pick up my daughter. But one more question. Yasmin says, do you offer one-on-one coaching to understand fundamentals? I do periodically. I don't have as much time, Sealy, to do as much as I want. But we do have a mastermind. Actually, if you go to drboycewin.com, W-I-N, drboycewin.com is where my mastermind is. And that's the only time I can really do a lot of one-on-one stuff. But outside of that, we do have VIP sessions with small groups. So the site is drboyceprime.com, drboyceprime.com. So feel free to go to drboyceprime.com if you want to take a look at the offer, or drboycewin.com if you want to check out the mastermind. The mastermind is for those of you that maybe have more capital to invest and you need a little more one-on-one support. I give everybody in the mastermind my phone number, but you have to apply for the mastermind because we want to make sure that you're ready, because we bring in private equity investors and things like that. So it's a little more advanced. But anyway, but Prime is kind of where everybody starts. So if that's of interest to you, that's where you can go. All right. So I want to say thank you guys very much for your time. It was great to see you, Llewellyn and Rodney and James Taylor and Miss Bass, Lisette. It means the world to me that you took the time to come and hang out with us tonight. And again, I lost track of time. I realized I have to go get my daughter, but I thoroughly enjoyed speaking with you, and it was an absolute honor. So have a good night, everybody, and thank you, Yasmin, for your help. I appreciate you as well, and we'll see.